How we doing, guys? And it's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0, and this is my player ratings. So, of course, it's finished Man City 1, Arsenal 0. And you know what? I hate losing. I've said this in my match reaction and everything else. I hate losing. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not overly disappointed because I actually saw enough there from this game to know that we can go toe-to-toe with Manchester City. And I am even more convinced now that we can win the Premier League. Honestly, I genuinely believe that we can win the Premier League. I think that you will see a different outcome in 2 weeks' time when Manchester City come to the Emirates in the Premier League. Now, before the game, we looked at the lineup. Arsenal had made 6 changes, and I sat there and I thought, Mikel, what have you done? This is such a gamble. Man City went full strength. Apart from Ederson in goal, they went full strength. They had the likes of De Bruyne, Haaland, etc. And tactically, we were superb. Haaland didn't have a sniff. You know, there were a couple of shaky moments in the first half, but because he was up against Rob Holding, half-time, he was taken off. Saliba come on. He never had a sniff. De Bruyne never had a sniff. Mahrez never had a sniff. We tactically set up right. And I think it's so promising, you know, moving forward for what we're able to do. I just think that we come unstuck with one little moment, you know, lapse in concentration. The fact that Thomas Partey had to come off at half-time. I've seen an update on that situation now. And from what I'm hearing, he was feeling pain in his ribs and he couldn't continue. And that's why he was taken off. So you've got to sit there and just pray that it's just a little knock. It's just bruising or something like that. And it's not broken ribs or something. So, but of course, the news that broke just after the game, Moises Caicedo, of course, it's been well publicized that we put a bid in for him. At Brighton, he's actually publicly now come out and put in a transfer request. Basically said to Brighton that he wants his move. Even pinned a photo of him playing at the Emirates up on his profile. So yeah, that makes our hand very strong in that respect. But Brighton, they won't be mugged off. They won't, you know, just say, all right, yeah, it's cool, he wants to go, let him go. They'll still want to get top money, that's for sure. So, listen, with Partey possibly, you know, being out, this is a necessity now. And I think everybody could see that when you saw the performance of Sambi Lokonga. Just not good enough. I'm sorry, it's as simple as that. So, listen, we lose the game, but there's a lot of positives to take. So, with that said, let's go and get into the player ratings. Matt Turner in goal. Good performance. I thought he done well, to be fair. I thought he had a solid game. Scares me a little bit when he flies out of his goal, but overall, handling, distribution, he was all right. No problems at all. I'll give him a 7. On the right-hand side, Tomiyasu, I thought he had a really good game, to be fair. I really thought he had a good game. I thought he kept, you know, Man City at bay, was helping double ups at times on Haaland. Done everything right. I thought he had a really good game, to be fair. I'll give him an 8. I thought he was really good. Rob Holding. Listen, the thing is with Rob Holding, I'm not going to criticize him and slag him off because he's been a good servant, but we're at the stage now where we're not Arsenal of 4 or 5 years ago. You know, players that are not good enough stand out a mile now. 4 years or so ago, Rob Holding wouldn't have stood out as a bad player. You know, he was, you know, he was better than Cannavaro, wasn't he? It was like, so, but at the end of the day, he's been a good servant to the club, but it is what it is at the end of the day. It wasn't a great performance. I felt he got rolled by Haaland so many times. And, you know, it could have been worse if he didn't have the players like he did around him. Gabriel and Turner flying out. And, yeah, I'll give Rob Holding a 4 for his performance. Alongside him, Gabriel, look, another solid display. It's as simple as that. I don't really know what much else I can say from that. He gets a 7. Alongside him, Kieran Tierney. I love Kieran Tierney. I think he's a great person. He's a good player. But when Zinchenko's not playing, you miss him. It's as simple as that. Tierney, he gets a 6. Centre midfield, first of all, Thomas Partey. Bossed the midfield in the first half. So influential. And I think this just shows how big a player he is for Arsenal once you take him out. That's the biggest compliment you can pay. It's as simple as that. 6 for the first half performance. Granit Xhaka, solid, but he looks completely different when Thomas is not behind him. Completely different. First half, great. Second half, he weren't a problem, but you just know he's worried because he ain't got that protection behind him. But I would say, yeah, I'd say 7, to be fair. Bukayo Saka, probably his worst game for Arsenal. It wasn't great. He was nullified a lot. Nathan Ake was obviously, told to stick to him. And I just think it was a quiet game all round, to be quite honest with you. It wasn't a great performance. Bukayo Saka, he gets a 4. I don't think it was a great performance at all, and he will know that. But I'm not worried in any way, shape or form. Listen, he can have the off day every now and then, can't he? With the performances he's been putting in. Next up, we'll go with Vieira. Not great. Not great. Now, in the future, I'm not worried about Vieira like I am with Lokonga. I think Vieira is somebody that in the future is going to be a good player. But right now, he's just not right. He's not ready. And against someone of the stature of Mancity, nah. The difference between him and Odegaard, completely uncomparable. Not a great performance. He gets a 4 as well. Trossard, I thought he had a really good performance. Really good 60 minutes in there. Really dangerous in the first half. And I'm happy with what I've seen from him. He gets an 8. I thought he'd done really well. Eddie Nketiah worked hard. Didn't really have a lot to go on. But I'll tell you something. For as well as he's done and everything else, yeah, we do miss Jesus in these kind of games. And the way he brings others in. And that's no disrespect to Eddie or anything like that. They're completely different players. But Jesus is a big game player. But overall, I thought he had a decent performance. I'll give him a solid 7 for his performance. The substitutes. First of all, William Saliba came on for Rob Holding at half-time. Solid. Simple as that. Haaland didn't have a sniff. 7. Sambi Lokonga. Dreadful. Dreadful, 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 dreadful. The fact that at the end of the game, he walked off down the tunnel, didn't acknowledge the fans either. He doesn't want to be at the club. It's very obvious. 2. It was dreadful. The other substitutes, Martinelli, I thought he done really well when he come on. That looked like the Martinelli pre-World Cup. But I don't really think he was on long enough. Same with Odegaard and the same with Zinchenko to really mark them. And yeah, it is what it is. Manager's rating. Mikel Arteta, he's lost the game. Made a lot of changes. But I think there was enough there, like I said, to say, yeah, we'll go toe-to-toe with Man City. And I'm genuinely convinced that we can win the league. But Mikel Arteta, 7. We lost the game. It is what it is at the end of the day. But we move on. We've got bigger things to worry about at the end of the day. So, listen, that is it for my player ratings. As usual, let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. If you disagree, which ones do you disagree with? If you are new around here, as usual, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.